Good morning, friends. Today is Thursday, October 10th, and we're going to be taking a look at the transits for today. It is a first quarter moon in Capricorn, so we're going to be mainly focusing on the first quarter moon chart and what is going on in that chart, plus a little bit of horoscopes for each rising sign for the first quarter moon. I already recorded this video, but I forgot. I didn't record it because I forgot to press record. I already talked this video and said everything, but I forgot to press record. Oh, learning curve. Okay, let's get into the astrology. If you are new here, my name is Monica, aka Astromommy, and I am a Western astrologer, and I do daily horoscopes Monday through Friday. I also share horary chart examples on my channel on YouTube. I write my daily horoscopes usually on Substack and then record an audio version on the podcast. And usually I'm posting that on YouTube. But this week I'm doing video horoscopes to change things up. Sometimes you need a little bit of a break from writing. If you're a writer, you understand. And since I do it daily, this is the only way I can kind of get a break is by doing it differently. So we're going to go with it and see how it goes. Hopefully everybody on Substack doesn't hate me for making videos all week instead of writing. Anyway, here we go. So today is the first quarter moon. Now we've got the chart here on the left. Now you can see that there is a big grand cross forming in the sky today. Now, let's orient ourselves with this chart so we can see what's going on. We have the moon here in Capricorn, 17 degrees Capricorn, 57 minutes, and she is in square to the sun, which is at 17 degrees Libra, 57 minutes. The first quarter moon will perfect at 2:55 p.m. Eastern time today, so that is this afternoon. There's a few things that are building up throughout the day as we get closer and closer to that square perfecting, such as the moon in opposition to Mars. That will be happening today. Let's see. The moon is going to be perfecting her opposition to Mars at 6:21 p.m. So that's a few hours after the first quarter square. And then also she is going to be squaring Chiron. And that actually will be perfecting tonight at 9:06 p.m. All right, so we have this big T-square energy going on here between the moon and Mars. The sun is also applying to oppose Chiron as well. And then we have this grand square energy between all of these planets. So the square is of the nature of Mars, which means that it's aggressive. It takes energy. It takes effort. Sometimes there's conflict. Sometimes there's challenges that come up that we have to make a decision about. The opposition is the nature of Saturn, which means it's either or. We have to make a decision. We can't do both. We may be feeling that we are being pulled in two different directions, that we have to decide on one or the other. Saturn represents the boundaries of our solar system. In traditional astrology, he was the furthest planet out before the outer planets were discovered. He's the last planet that we can see with our naked eye. And so he represents a boundary between what we can see here on the material plane and what we feel in this sort of spiritual, otherworldly plane, because we cannot see the outer planets. We cannot see what is out there past Saturn. He represents that boundary. So he also represents that boundary within our skin and within our physical bodies. We can't see the spirit world. We can only feel what we physically can feel with our bodies. And sometimes we feel something, but we can't see it. So Saturn also represented in ancient astrology mysticism and the mystics and having that commitment to a faith. So we've got this big opposition and grand square happening. On top of that, we do have a yod forming as well. So in order to show you guys the yod, I'm actually going to take off these transit lines. So these aspect lines. All right. Now that we have a clean slate, I can draw this yod for you. A yod is a special modern astrological configuration in the sky, and it's made up of 3 planets that are making aspects to each other. Now, the first 2 planets are making a sextile, and right here we have Jupiter in sextile to Chiron. Jupiter in Gemini retrograde, sextile Chiron in Aries retrograde. Now, that just perfected yesterday, and that represents the 2 planets wanting to work together. So we are wanting to acknowledge our vulnerabilities and where we feel we are insecure in our identities. And we want to expand that with knowledge and data and our belief systems. And those 2 planets are both in quincunx to a 3rd planet, which is Venus. That makes up the yod. So we have 2 planets in sextile, and then those 2 planets are both in a 150-degree angle to a 3rd planet, the apex planet. Now, this points the finger of God to the 3rd planet. Now, that 3rd planet is how the energy between the 2 planets wanting to work together is going to get manifested into the world. So we have Venus at the apex of this yod, Venus in Scorpio, her detriment, which means that this energy of, looking at the vulnerabilities and our painful things and hurtful things, our wounds that we have on the inside of us with Chiron and Aries. And we're going to try to gain wisdom and learn lessons with those, with the sextile to Jupiter. We want to become wiser and heal. And it's going to happen through Venus and Venus in Scorpio. So that's going to be our relationships, taking a look on the deeper layers of our relationships and also the deeper layers of our sensuality and our sexuality, and coming face to face with those types of things and exploring those themes in order to heal a part of ourselves and allow growth to happen. So this yod is pretty profound, especially on top of the grand cross that we have going on with this first quarter moon. All right. I'm going to go ahead and put the aspect lines back on so we can see the squares and oppositions that are forming here. Okay, now we're going to go through this first quarter moon for each one of the sun and rising signs. Now, usually I just list them out, but since we're doing this on video, I'll go ahead and delineate a little further as we go through them. All right, so what I'm going to do is we've got this first quarter moon here in Capricorn. Now, the first quarter moon, what this means is that tonight in the night sky, you're going to see the moon, and she's going to be illuminated on the right-hand side, and she's going to be a beautiful half moon. Okay? That's the first quarter. This whole last week, she started to gain some light, and you would have seen the crescent moon in the sky, and now she has waxed to the first quarter. She's halfway full. This represents a turning point in the cycle, the lunar cycle between the sun and the moon that happens every single month, and it's an individuation point. It's if we were thinking about a plant, and with the new moon, the solar eclipse we had 2 weeks ago is like a seed being planted in the ground. This first quarter phase is when the little plant pops through the ground, it pushes through the earth, it has to exert energy and force and show itself to the world, and it brings its little leaves up, and it pushes through the earth and it shows its 2 first little cotyledons, right? So this first quarter phase is about individuation. It's about breaking free from the confines of not being seen for who you are. And now we are trying to put ourselves out there in some way. So whatever new beginning you had or that you started 2 weeks ago in Libra, in the house that Libra rules in your chart, now you are going to start to see something start to take shape. There's going to be action or movement in that house. So that's what we're going to talk about with the horoscopes here. So we have this first quarter moon in Capricorn right here. I'm going to leave that circle there. And what we're going to do is go through the rising signs. Now, I'm not going to change the chart. I'm just going to highlight each rising sign as we go through it. So for Aries, this will put the first quarter moon in Capricorn into your 10th house of career, praxis, and the mother. And what that means is that you might see something take shape with your career. Now, moving on to Taurus. For Taurus, this puts the first quarter moon in Capricorn into your 9th house of foreign travel, higher education, and beliefs. You might see something take shape around your belief system, or there could be an advancement with some sort of travel plans that you have or a higher education goal. Moving on to Gemini, this puts the first quarter moon in Capricorn into your 8th house of shared resources, inheritance, debt, and death. So you definitely could see something with your shared resources, the resources that you share with a spouse or a loved one or in a partnership of some kind, and there's some sort of agreement that's taking the next level. Cancer rising. This puts the first quarter moon in Capricorn into your 7th house of marriage, partnerships, and legal matters. So you could see something start to take shape in a relationship that you have of some kind. For Leo rising, this puts the first quarter moon in Capricorn into your 6th house of stress, health issues, employees or coworkers, and pets. So you could definitely see something that has to do with your health and wellness taking the next step forward. For Virgo rising, this puts the first quarter moon in Capricorn into your 5th house of pregnancy, children, creativity, and recreational activities. You could see things starting to take shape in one of your creative endeavors, or you could see something happening with one of your children where like the next step happens in a project that they're doing. Libra rising, this puts the first quarter moon in Capricorn into your 4th house of family, roots, and landed property. So you could definitely notice something happening with your family, or you could notice something taking shape with a property that you own. Something is getting advanced or moved along in the process, some sort of project you have going on. For Scorpio rising, this puts the first quarter moon in Capricorn into your 3rd house of siblings, communication, and local travel, and your neighborhood. So you could see something taking shape with one of your siblings. You could notice a new way that you are communicating with others, or a new way that you are getting around with your daily route. For Sagittarius rising, this puts the first quarter moon in Capricorn into your 2nd house of money and possessions. And this means maybe you have gathered a new skill and you're now able to make money with that skill. For Capricorn rising, this is happening in your 1st house of self, health, and character and your immediate environment. So something could be happening with your appearance. You could be changing something in some way that you thought about a couple weeks ago and decided to make a change. Or your health could be rounding the bend, or there could be something going on in your immediate environment. Something taking shape, a project that you've been working on at your house, in your home, that you are now doing the next part of. For Aquarius rising, this puts the first quarter moon in Capricorn into your 12th house of blind spots, large animals, hidden enemies, and mental health. So I feel like in the 12th house, this is always the hardest one, right? When we have something going on in the 12th house like this. This puts our focus on mental health attitudes. So something that is going on. So there could be some sort of change that is starting to take shape in a way that you are thinking about something, some sort of mental belief that you have that is starting to change. And for Pisces rising, this puts the first quarter moon in Capricorn into your 11th house of friends, allies, groups, and wishes. So something that you have been working on is now starting to take shape, and it's starting to show itself in the form of a new friend group or a network that you are part of. All right, so I hope you enjoyed those horoscopes for the first quarter moon. I would love to know if any of them resonate with you in the comments. All right, so now we've talked about the transits for the day. Let's get into what the cards have to say for this first quarter moon. All right. Now, I already picked the card, but we're just going to go ahead and pick it again. Actually, I could tell you the card that I picked when I was recording, but not recording. It's the High Priestess. Woo! Got a jumper. Okay, so we got the Shaman of Wands. So this is like the King of Wands in the regular tarot deck. So the Shaman of Wands, this is a master of his creativity. So I like this. Earlier I got the High Priestess, which I still have here. Earlier I got the High Priestess, and now I got the Shaman of Wands. So what that tells me is that it's important for us to listen to our intuition and tune into our higher selves. That's what the High Priestess is all about, and tuning into that inner wisdom that you have from your higher self and listening to your gut. And then we also have the Shaman of Wands, which is about being a master of your creativity and expressing yourself in a creative and generous way. So I love these two cards for the day. I think it's really positive. It means opening up yourself to those creative impulses, those creative juices, and using that energy to manifest something that we feel intuitively drawn to. So I love that as the energy for today. I hope you guys found this helpful. Please leave me a comment below and let me know if this resonated with you and what your rising sign is. And are you seeing anything start to take shape with this first quarter moon phase? I would love to know. All right, until tomorrow, Astro Mommy.